So I put on my metrics glasses, all my analytics glasses for all those nerds out there.
The Thomas Bryant jockstrap, get him out of here!
How does that not indicate to you, like, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What's all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey everybody, welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, and Kevin Stefanski, it looks like. And Rob Watson. Today is Monday, December 8th, 2025. You guys, normally I would ask, how are we doing this morning? But we have no time to waste as this is a jam-packed show. Between the Cleveland Browns' most recent loss to the Tennessee Titans, all the way to Notre Dame being, as Jack would say, shafted out of the college football playoff, we have no time to waste, so let's jump right into the Browns' loss to the now 2-11 Tennessee Titans. They take down our 3-10 Cleveland Browns. 31-29 is the final score in that one. Shedeur Sanders, 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Let's start talking about the 2-point conversion that everybody is talking about. We're not going to sit here and talk about analytics, okay?
Could you just ask Kevin Stefanski about it?
Kevin,
why'd you go for 2 when you just could have took 2 extra points? We were down.
Yeah, it was a team decision. It comes from me. It comes down to me at the end of the day. It's on me. It was my
Kevin, we want to know why Shedeur Sanders, who basically dragged the team back into the game, was not on the field on the most important play of the game.
It comes down to me. We have to be better. It was my decision.
Was Quinshawn supposed to reverse the ball to Gage?
It was my decision.
So you did call the play, or Tommy did?
It was my decision.
Okay.
listen, I'm not here to
Kevin,
talk
the
about
faith in Bubba
analytics.
Ventrone. Well, why do you continue to have faith in him?
Because I want to coach a better football team next year, and I don't want to be here.
He has a sick first name. I like Bubba.
Trump Blue Bubba.
Anyways, I'm not here to talk about analytics because we can talk about analytics, tell you go for that in the situation 50-50. You have a 1 and a 2 shot to make a 2-point conversion, but as you pointed out, Rob, you can't apply normal analytics to the Cleveland Browns.
got those
But we're
normal
here to talk about the
stats.
decision. Shedeur Sanders not being on the field for that moment. I'll just start with this. Yes, if Quinshawn laterals that, reads the DB properly, that probably leads to them winning the game, or at that point tying the game because they didn't make it the first time. But we start with having Shedeur Sanders off the field in that moment, despite him being, without a doubt, the Browns' best player on the field that day.
I mean,
on offense at least.
All the Shedeurians might be owed an apology. All the aunties, the CU people, everyone, because, a lot of us sat here and we were like, well, we tried to give Kevin the benefit of the doubt. Where is the benefit of the doubt left? I think Judas has uncovered himself, guys. I mean, for those who apparently had discernment, they knew, but why is he not in the game? Why? He's been keeping you alive the whole game. He's gotten hit every play. He just had a red zone scramble where the play was dead in the water, and he found a way to punch it into the end zone. He just had an amazing throw. He's just shown, the only thing he's shown, well, not the only thing, but he's shown since day one is that he can make layered red zone throws in tight coverage. And we don't go to him when it matters most. I don't get it. I don't get why he's not on the field. If he's out there, maybe the run isn't as stuffed up because maybe they think he is going to pass the ball. Ultimately, it's just, it makes me wonder, does he not want to see him make the play? Would Dylan have gotten a pass play there? Would Dylan have gotten to be on the field? I don't know anymore. The people who say he's got something against this kid are starting to have a little bit of legs to stand on.
Ultimately, I think this is, and it's mercifully heading towards an end, but I think this is how the Kevin Stefanski era is going to be remembered, where at times tactical, but more times than not, overthinks it, way too cute, refusing to adjust. Like he said after the game, and I genuinely believe him, that they had that situation planned out during the week. During the week they had their 2-point conversion package, and they felt good about the Wildcat. They've ran it all year. They've had success with it all year, and they wanted to run a variation of that if it came to it. But ultimately, what he did was he puts these players that are tremendously young and tremendously unproven in the highest leverage situation with no upside. Like there was no room for error on that pitch play, and it didn't work. And he was so steadfast in running that because he installed it in the week that lost in all of that. And I get Kevin probably didn't call that. It's Tommy Reese, whatever. But the overarching point still stands to your point, Jack. He is the coach. He is responsible to everything. And
it's all on me.
You've got a quarterback that's red hot. That's when you adjust in a game. Okay, even though that's a play that I really like, maybe we're going to save it for next week in Chicago, because right now I got a quarterback that's red hot and I'm not going to take him off the field.
Wild Dog was looking very figured out on Sunday, too. That wasn't the first time we went to it, and it was getting absolutely stuffed up. And we also had 3 backup linemen in the game. Another thing, just weren't getting that push.
And they ran that to that direction.
Pretty sure Shedeur was our leading rusher. So, I mean,
he was.
You know, for all things considered, it is just being stubborn. I don't know. I was okay with it when we scored 3 touchdowns or whatever in Miami and then another 2 in Oakland, but it wasn't working. It wasn't working.
It's just so frustrating as someone who's like inherently a Kevin Stefanski guy. Like, not that I think he should be back at this point coming in for next year, but like there is good coaching there. It's been proven in the past. Like, he's won with an array of quarterbacks in this league at different times with the Browns. Like, he just does some of the dumbest things that you just are just inexplicable. When like there's little chances, like all you have to do is not go for 2, and like no one's questioning your job this morning, even if you lose that game. Well, I mean, actually, there probably were other things where his job would be questioned today regardless. But like, it's just little preventable things where like you have to think that you're smarter than everyone else. So you can't just do the obvious thing that makes sense.
So,
I
like,
just don't know anyone who could live off success from 5 years ago this long. That everyone just keeps saying you're a good coach when you do stuff like this over and over again. I don't get it anymore.
I didn't disagree. Like I think it was actually the Ravens that started this. That when you're down 14 in the 4th quarter, you go for 2 first, because the thought process is win the game. If you get the 2-point conversion, your next touchdown, you just need an extra point and you have the lead. And then if you don't convert, then you just do it again on the next one. Here's the issue though, right? Like that's how they preach process over results. That's the process that makes sense, that exists in other NFL markets where other head coaches are making that same exact decision that Kevin Stefanski made. The issue is like the first one, we don't know what they were trying to run because it was a botched snap between a backup center, longtime center. It is probably done for the season with an Achilles injury, and that complicates next year's offensive line situation even further, as now Ethan Pochich is not an option.
Was he on contract?
He was not. He's a free agent.
Well, he's gone is gone now. That's over with.
So like instead of, like I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe this is a poor example because they're in their current situation where now they can't literally afford one more loss or that's it for them. But like when you get around that goal line, good teams can get a yard. Like you turn the football around, they hand it to Kareem Hunt. We all thought he was washed 2.5 years ago because the Browns led us on to believe, but he's still scoring touchdowns in Kansas City. Like, and instead we're doing this pitch that's never been done before to a player that was on the practice squad the entire season in Gage Larvidan, another player that was supposed to throw it in Quinshon Judkins, who missed the entire preseason and the entire offseason where you install these type of things. Like he consistently overthinks the moment. It's like the philosophy was there, but the execution failed, and the execution always fails.
And it would have worked if it was executed right, but think about the key parts in that play. I don't even know who might have been the option if he was throwing the ball. But
There's Larvidan.
He was on, but he would have had the ball to throw it. There was someone who was holding the block who I was assuming would have released if he wasn't going to run in. Like,
I mean, it might have just been an RPO reverse.
I don't even know.
It might have just literally might have been an RPO reverse.
But yeah, so then again.
But that's the case. If there's no one to throw to in the end zone, what the hell are you doing?
The game is on the line, and we're giving it to undrafted free agent Gage Larvidan.
Hey, here's the thing, too. If this was a normal Cleveland Browns team where the 2-point conversion, Shedeur's on the field, regardless, he fails the 2-point conversion. It is what it is. If this was a normal team, the story going in today wouldn't be this. It would be the Cleveland Browns rush defense, because it was absolutely atrocious. 25 carries for Tony Pollard, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hadn't had a 100-yard game going into throughout the season. He does it first against the Cleveland Browns.
He was on my
Tennessee
fantasy
Titans'
team,
best day offensively, not even close. That should be the story of the game, is how bad the Browns' rush defense was and their inability to get off the field in crucial moments. But because of how bad and wacky the Cleveland Browns are, especially with this whole Shedeur Sanders situation, that kind of gets pushed back. And I understand, because the season is all for naught. If this was a crucial game the Browns needed to win, perhaps we'd be analyzing the Browns' defense more, I suppose. But let's go to Shedeur Sanders, the man of the hour, really the man of the season for the Cleveland Browns. I mentioned 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. We haven't seen those type of numbers from a rookie since obviously Baker Mayfield did it a couple times here in Cleveland. Listen, 4 or 5 games left? I believe 4 left against some good teams, some good playoff teams, or at least some teams and some teams that are still fighting for playoff life. We know that. Shedeur Sanders puts up this amazing stat line, albeit it comes in a loss. Has it changed your thought process at all, seeing Shedeur Sanders' performance yesterday, about the Cleveland Browns needing to draft a quarterback next year in the draft? Well, I should say with one of their first 2 picks.
I guess I was just saying we shouldn't do that, and I've kind of been saying that for a while. And I think this only further, backs up what I've been saying, that there's a lot of talent in this kid. And he's been in the fact that he's just did what he just did in this situation, with all things considered, from the receivers to the no reps, no offseason, throwing the trash cans. You got 3 linemen out, all this. And in your third starts, you go out and do that. I don't care who he's playing. It's an NFL team. I just watched the Big Ten Championship. I watched Mr. Number 1 pick put up 13 points and get a win by the skin of his teeth. It shouldn't even, like, he didn't even deserve it. I don't even know who are we talking. Ty Simpson, they put up how many points versus Georgia? We want to see that. I'm sure Dante Moore's probably going to go stink it up now versus whoever Oregon has in the playoff. Why?
Well, it's just like it's a simple...
Why not just give this kid some more weapons? Give him an offseason. Give him a receiver. Give him an actual left tackle. Let's build a real low line and let's see what he can do. If he could do this with the scrap heap that we have out there on the football field right now, what could he do with a coach that actually wants to see him succeed, not some little gremlin from Oregon whose wife thinks that the whole building wants to see him play? Like, I don't. If we could go and he could do that with all this, everything stacked against him all year, what would happen if we put everything behind him next year?
Yeah, I think it's a great point because, too, like, also is looking at the math of only having a finite amount of draft picks, even though you do have 2 first-round picks, because you don't really have cap space to go out and improve the team via free agency. Like, what's the better math? Like, giving this kid who's shown you a couple of flashes a shot with a receiver, a tackle, like maybe some additional help on the O-line, or probably still needing to trade at least another pick to go up and get one of those quarterbacks, like in the top 5. Like, I don't see a world where that would be the better option, right?
I mean, it's the best quarterback play you've gotten all season by far, bar none. It's not even close.
I mean, he was the second rookie ever besides Joe Burrow to go for 340, 3 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
The throw to David Njoku was absolutely beautiful. Put it only where David Njoku could get it. The throw to Harold Fannin, put it in an absolute bucket. And then the one to Jerry Jeudy, obviously. Shout out Jerry Jeudy.
He ran,
got inside,
you know
got the inside leverage. Shedeur put that on a laser, and he took it to the crib. Like, those are throws we haven't seen this year outside of anybody, obviously outside of Shedeur Sanders. Like, that's something to work with. Now we can talk about the interception. Ugly, ugly, ugly interception. Maybe we can chalk it up to being a rookie. You got to learn that situation. It's not a video game. I know it's a common saying we like to say, but throw the ball away. Because to be fair, that pick did give. They were winning. If I'm not mistaken, Browns were winning. That gave them a lot of momentum. They returned that thing for like 40 yards, set up perfectly. I believe they scored a touchdown on that possession. I think it was the Tony Pollard rushing touchdown. If I'm not mistaken, like that can happen. But again, I'll take a mistake like that from a rookie in a game that doesn't matter if I'm seeing all of this other stuff accumulate to what is a good NFL product.
Well, and I like what he said after the game too. Like, his mindset is so mature for being a rookie 5th round pick, because after the game he completely like put that blame on himself, and he was like, that was a greedy move. Like he was like, I was trying my hardest. I felt like we needed a spark, held on to it for too long, and threw the ball in an area where you can't throw the football. Like, because he said, like, hopefully in the future we're not in a situation where I feel like I have to put the team on my back and I have to be the spark, and hopefully we're playing from ahead in that moment in the game and I can just follow along what I'm supposed to do. So like you can see like his competitive spirit is really like what I walked away most impressed with. Was like, yeah, he could, counted for 4 touchdowns and almost 400 yards, but it was the fact that once he threw that interception where he was just trying to create a spark, he more than made up for it, right? Like, he put the team on his back in a big moment. And as far as like, him being a potential answer for next year, like we've got 1 month. Like, this is going to be a really cool 1 month sample size, because if you look at this, the Titans defense, because for all the people that want to disparage what Shedeur did, for everybody that wants to disparage what Shedeur did, Titans defense ranked higher than Chicago's defense right now. So we're gonna get another cool look at how we can continue to grow, and you can't be mad at this. Like, the Shedeur haters, and there are plenty of them out there. Like, you can't tell me that you didn't see a young player grow and a young player show you that he's beyond capable of putting a team on his back and leading them to a victory. And ultimately, I think that's what it would have been had the head coach not taken him off the field. So encouraged by what I saw, yet at the same time, and before I like get too excited about next year, I got to see like who's coaching the team, who's making these draft picks. Because I think like while Shedeur's stock arrow is trending up, there are plenty of people around the entire organization that stock arrow is pointing red down.
I think one, let me say, because I wanted to say this, shout out to Jerry Jeudy, because you deserve the flowers for where the disrespect was last week, or at least when we call you out. So you had a good game. Shout out to you. Shout out to Shedeur, them having that hug in the end zone. That was a good moment. 2, I think Andrew Berry's job, if Shedeur Sanders continues to at least keep up a good pace, like he doesn't completely trend down, like which I don't seeing because he's just improved every week. I think his job is safe. So now the thing for the coaching search is you got to find the head coach that wants him as their quarterback. I think that's now the thing. You got to find the situation where someone wants to come in with the 2 draft picks, hopefully keep Jim Schwartz, wants to coach the team, and keep Shedeur as the quarterback. You got to find that fit. It may not be the big name. It really might not be. So that's something we're going to have to figure out. But I think that could be the area less traveled. You just get a new coach. You keep the GM, keep the DC. He brings in a new staff, hopefully a new receivers coach, hopefully a new special teams coach, possibly a new OC, and you see where you go from there. That's where I kind of see this going right now. I don't know about you guys.
Could I throw like a hypothetical out there? And it's tremendously early to talk about this. Like Kevin Stefanski's not being fired today. I'd be surprised if Bubba Ventrone is fired today. Kevin said to speak with the media now at 1 p.m. So there's a long way to go in all of this. Yet at the same time, like we're starting to get reports that come out, and when these come out, you got to try to figure out like where are these coming from. And obviously the Deshaun Watson thing came out Saturday night, and we could get into that at some point. But I wonder what head coach Tommy Rees would do for everything. Because I think that's like a path where you don't have to strip it down to the studs, and you could create some of the cohesion that you've got with Harold Fannin, with Quinshon Judkins. He was, a lead candidate before Penn State decided to hire Iowa State. Head coach Matt Campbell there. Like, I wonder if Tommy Rees as a head coach candidate, because the offense has looked better since Kevin Stefanski handed it to Tommy Rees. I wonder if that would be like we're going to get rid of the bad man, yet we're not going to change everything. And this is a guy that actually brought out some good moments from Shedeur Sanders, and we're going to see what he could do with a left tackle and a receiver in the draft. I don't know.
It just it reminds me too much of Freddie Kitchens getting the job after sputtering a little bit. Baker brings you back, and then a guy who has no head coaching experience, who's never done it before, just comes out. And maybe Tommy Rees would be better. I think Tommy Rees is smarter than Freddie Kitchens, but I think it's such a delicate situation, and you've thrown yourself into the fire 10,000 times in a row that you need to give this kid a little bit of justice and give him someone who's done it before.
I would love to see him be retained and become like the full head coach of the offense.
Me too.
As an OC actually should. I would love to see that. I don't want to see Tommy Rees as the head coach next year under any circumstances. He's been a head coach anywhere ever in his life.
We've got an article right now up on Browns on SI, and with a little bit of reporting from Mary Kay Cabot stating that the Browns really want to do everything in their power to retain Tommy Rees. So it does remind me of the Freddie Kitchens thing. Was that they wanted to do what they could, and
coach.
Other teams wanted Freddie as an OC had the Browns decided to roll with somebody else as their head coach, and that ultimately is what led to the Browns making the decision to just hire Freddie as the head coach, even though he had no experience doing that. I'm curious to see how that layer of it unfolds, because I do believe that they really like Tommy Rees. Like, I've heard that like all the teams, the college football, NFL, that want to reach out to Nick Saban to see if he'd have any interest coming out and coaching again. Nick Saban's response to all of that interest is go talk to Tommy Rees, go hire Tommy Rees. So like, if you want Nick Saban, and I know there are a lot of people that want the, John Gruden, Nick Saban ilk of next Browns head coaches, maybe Nick Saban told Haslam, maybe Nick Saban told Barry, hey, you might have me and Tommy Rees, give him a shot. I don't know. I'm not imploring for that to happen. I think we've got to be at a stage now, even prior to figuring out like Shedeur and the quarterback in next year. I think we're more so at a phase of we need to find out like who the head coach is.
I'm just like, I'm fairly certain that Tommy Rees called a double reverse on a 2-point conversion to end the game yesterday, and I can't get behind him.
I'd rather see them promote Jim Schwartz and have him promote.
I would take Jim Schwartz over Tommy
I think
Rees.
a lot of people agree with you.
And then just say, Tommy, the offense is fully yours. You make Jim Schwartz the head coach.
Autonomous Rees.
And then
go do your thing.
He just whatever. He has a linebacker coach that he wants to promote to DC, and you do it that way. I would like that much more than us saying we got to make Tommy Rees the head coach.
How old? He can't be much older than 35.
I agree with you.
He played at Notre Dame in the last 15 years.
I just don't
think
he's done. He hasn't had a job other than OC, right?
What do we have any formal guesses of
his age?
Yeah.
Can I think about it?
I would have said
he would have left Notre Dame in
I think he's
2013 at
20s.
22.
I think he's like 28 years old.
No.
22 plus 13.
I would say he's close. I would have thought he was closer to 40.
Give me 35.
33.
33. Okay.
I mean, Lane Kiffin was the youngest head coach ever, and he was hired at 34, I think, by Al Davis.
Yeah. So
So you'd hire the youngest head coach ever.
Let's not do it.
Yeah, I don't want the Browns to set any more precedents.
Let's not do it.
I don't want the Browns to be the first team to do
about
anything
this?
when
We
nothing
bring
they've
in-
done is
here's what
work.
we do.
30. McVay was 30 when he started
So
coaching.
we bring in a bad
Sean
we bring in a
McVay.
bad
Don't create your own
defensive
path,
coach.
follow the formula.
We give Tommy Reese like 3 more years to book it up as an OC. When we fire the bad defensive coach, you keep Tommy, make him that good. Then we can do it.
Let him be fully in charge of the offense for a whole year.
But I think that the issue is like you've got these high-profile college programs like Penn State. Say he's the head coach of the offense for a year, and Jim Schwartz is the head coach, the CEO of the organization. What's stopping next year's Penn State? Give me a college football team that would fire their head coach next year.
Next year, Texas.
But who's to say, Tommy Reese, you're in line to be the next head coach of Texas? Well, then you've lost your wonder child OC that would eventually be your head coach. So somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to hire.
You're remembering and
coach.
forgetting at the same time that Jimmy Haslam loves shiny objects. Jimmy Haslam
He'll throw
would
bread.
do whatever it
Yeah.
takes to not get rid of the shiny object, but also, I mean, he'll pay whatever to keep the shiny object.
I
You think Jimmy's scared
I
of oil
love
money?
coaches and coordinators, but I don't know how much I'm. If they get poached, they get poached. It happens. There's turnover all the time. I don't know if I could feel like it's not like we're losing a franchise player. It's a coordinator.
Yeah, but it mattered for Detroit, did it not? When they lost Ben Johnson,
They're
see
still
the
a good
difference.
team this year, though.
They are.
They're still a good team, and there would be people under him that understudy, and they could come in and probably run close enough to the same thing. But I see what you're saying.
I'm in a curious spot right now because I think when you look at like the PEMDAS, please excuse me, the order of operations that this thing needs to go before I can allow myself to get too excited about Shedeur, which I'm dangerously close to doing, and I really want to do.
I'm there.
And I know you are. I want to find out who's going to be the head coach, who's going to be making these draft picks in April, because that's really going to be what predicates what direction this entire thing goes. And I do think like it's beyond fair to say right now, the stock arrow is up on Shedeur, and the stock arrow is way down, and it ultimately, losing to the Jets, losing to the Titans is going to be what gets Kevin Stefanski fired. But what's that mean for everybody else? Like, who knows? Everybody right now wants to just point to Jim Schwartz. We don't know the dynamic behind the scenes. Maybe Jim Schwartz feels loyal and indebted to Kevin Stefanski, and if Kevin Stefanski's out, he doesn't want any part of this, as just retaining on a staff of a new head coach coming in. Like, there's going to be a lot of fallout that happens over the next couple of months. As Zach Jackson says, it is December in Berea, and these are the conversations that we're forced to have when the football team has 3 wins for yet another consecutive season.
Well, a lot of fallout there, a lot of fallout in college football, that landscape. We'll get to that in a second. But first, I got to tell everybody about our great friends over at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, Classic Light Lager as well as that Classic Lime.
It was a weekend for
No
frills, baby.
No bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer the way you want beer to taste, and that is, of course, beer-flavored beer. So scan the QR code now or go give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that is drinkgaragebeer.com. Jack, I know you might have had a lot of garage beer to get over your sorrows as we flip gears to the college football playoff. Well, we know now the 12 teams that will be competing for that national championship trophy. Number 1, Indiana, after defeating Ohio State, they get the overall number 1 seed. Ohio State drops just to number 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech round of the top 4 that get a byes. And then it was 5, Oregon, no surprise there. Number 6, Ole Miss. Number 7, A&M. We knew those were the teams that were going to get in, as well as number 8, Oklahoma. Now it's 9 through 12 that we weren't so sure about. Alabama comes in at number 9. Don't drop anywhere despite losing to Georgia. Getting blown out, I should say, by Georgia in the SEC championship game. They get in, no surprise there, to the SEC bias. Then here we go, Jack. Number 10, Miami gets into the college football playoff despite some pretty ugly losses to a couple teams that I thought had no business beating a team like Miami. And then number 11, your group of 5 teams, Tulane and James Madison at number 12. We start here. Alabama getting into the playoff. Not only that, but not dropping it all after getting blown out by Georgia in the SEC championship game. Their first round matchup, they travel to Norman to take on the Oklahoma Sooners and John Mathieu.
Jack, could I put this on a tee for you? Because I really only have like about 2 sentences to say about this entire thing. And
Let's do it, brother.
And then I'm turning it over.
I'll go blue. I'll go blue.
It's almost a waste of breath to talk about this because college football is so beyond broken. And I put that out on social media, and I had a lot of people disagreeing with me. But my point is, these are not the best 12 teams in college football. Like, so what's the point of the committee? What's the point of the regular season? What's the point of conference championship week? These aren't the best 12 teams, like, full stop. Like, when you look at every single college that fielded a team from Ohio State and Indiana being 1 and 2 to whoever was the
UMass.
absolute basement of the Mid-American Conference. These are not the best 12 teams in the nation, and with that, I turn it over to my buddy Jack.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go to. I'm not one of those Notre Dame fans who's saying anything about Miami. Miami should be in the 12-team football playoff over Notre Dame every time. You know, they line up. They both go 10-2. You take the tiebreaker, the head-to-head. Absolutely. I mean, I'm pissed because I think it was the best Notre Dame team I've ever watched before. So I think because of that, like not getting the chance to like make the memories of like watching those playoff games with my family and stuff, and like just like being around for that atmosphere, like that's what hurt me the most, I would say. But I don't know, man. It's a weird format, and college football was forever going to change yesterday, and it just depended on who was the team that got left out. And what sucks for Notre Dame is not only that you did not get in, now you're the person that everyone's going to make fun of the rest. Now we're the team that like's going to, oh, you're sitting out the bowl game, whatever. But whoever got the short end of the stick of these three teams was going to go out and change the sport forever after. And there was going to be a trail blazed behind them. If Alabama doesn't get in, there was never going to be a Power 5 conference championship game ever played again. They were going to get rid of conference championship games. That's why they had to put Alabama in the game. Like, there was literally no chance you would ever, like, this was to, Alabama getting in is to rectify or even keep alive even the 2% falsehood of conference championships, or really even conferences in the first place mattering that much.
Abolished. And I've been up here saying that too.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been saying you should get rid of the group all the Power Fives, just make it a super conference.
Well, that's what Notre Dame's gonna. We'll get there in a second. Like that. So, Bama, if you don't let them in, you're done with conference championships. If Miami doesn't get in over Notre Dame, which, hey, they did, and I said I would put Miami in over Notre Dame, they would have every single hard out-of-conference game on every team schedule in the country would have been canceled. Yep. They would have never done that again, and ESPN loves money. You're not going to get rid of every big game that matters throughout the year. So the third team you could leave out was Notre Dame, and Notre Dame doesn't have a conference or doesn't have, like, this political backing. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Notre Dame has political backing within college football, duh, but they don't have the support of 15 other teams naturally behind them in a conference, right? Notre Dame's biggest thing you can do is say, fuck your committee, fuck your bowls, we're not going. We're going to set the precedent of bowl games don't matter anymore if you don't need to play in them. And I think also with that as well, the bigger thing that Notre Dame did, that's the short-term ripple effect, is the Notre Dame is about to end the ACC as a conference. That is what is going to happen because Notre Dame's pissed at the ACC. The ACC, despite the fact that Notre Dame is in it in 13 sports, Notre Dame plays 5 ACC football games a year. The ACC decided to play the Notre Dame-Miami game 13 times, even though Notre Dame's a fellow conference member. Notre Dame's going to blow up the ACC. The only reason Clemson and Florida State stayed in and agreed to keep part in their ACC deals was the agreement that they would play Notre Dame every single year starting in 2028.
They're both ass now, too.
They're both ass now, but Notre Dame is going to say, hey, we can do this exact same thing where we play 5 games a year, hint, hint, Big Ten, and go play a Big Ten schedule for 5 games a year. The Big Ten will pay them a shit ton of money that will cost more than their buyout of leaving the ACC. Notre Dame will make more money out of it. Notre Dame will say, hey, we're going to take our ball and go home from all of you fuckers that can't play football anyways. We're going to go play in the Big Ten, and the ACC will be dead because Clemson's going to leave, Florida State's going to leave, Miami, who gives a shit about them? And then you're going to have your, what we all talked about for the last 10 years, when will it finally become the Big Ten and the SEC, just the 2 super conferences? Well, it's here. That's what the committee decided yesterday.
The problem I have, and let me know if you guys agree with this, is when you're looking at the 12 teams that made it, Notre Dame obviously not being in it, but Notre Dame was one of maybe 4, probably realistically 4 teams that I look at in this field that I truly feel like have the chance to go win a national championship.
Yeah.
One of those is Notre Dame.
They had the number 4 odds to win the national championship at 10 a.m. yesterday.
One of those that I believe could win a national championship that's talented enough is Notre Dame. Like James Madison, obviously I don't need to go in that. Tulane, I don't need to go in that. Ole Miss, even with Lane Kiffin, don't think they had enough. Oklahoma, your offense isn't good enough. Alabama, again, we've seen Alabama. They just got blown out by Georgia. Texas Tech even. Okay, I'll give you Texas Tech, sure. But again, we'll see what it matters. They've never been in this moment before. Indiana, yes. Georgia, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and then maybe Oregon. 5 teams. Outside of that, I don't see a chance in hell any of these teams win the national championship. I would have included Notre Dame in that should they have met in the playoff. That's the problem I have. And Jack, you talked about Miami getting in over Notre Dame. I get it because I can make this argument that it'd be like, well, what does head-to-head matter? They literally beat them head-to-head. Yeah, they did, but we had this conversation like Notre Dame against Miami, first game of the season, freshman quarterback CJ Carr had 1 bad half of football. Like Miami's best reason they got into the college football. They should thank Notre Dame for getting in because they beat us.
I mean, well, the thing that's weird about it, and Miami should my stance is still that Miami should get in over Notre Dame.
Who SMU
is like, if you're gonna do it though, you should have done it 7 fucking weeks ago and put them ahead of Notre Dame from the time you did the first rankings, even though they just lost twice. Because here's the thing.
But they're separate, no? They're separate rankings. The AP versus the college football rankings.
Yeah.
Were they ahead of them in the rankings? All
Notre Dame was 9 spots ahead of Miami in the first college football playoff rankings and won every game from that point on by double digits.
Right. So then what? Yeah, that makes no sense. So
that's my confusion.
You were admittedly saying they were better at that moment, and then nothing in the resume changed. We knew if there was a conference champion, but you're an at-large bid, and nothing on the two schools' resumes changed except Notre Dame's got better and Miami's got worse.
It's because of they play the game on 2 different sides of the fence. My stance was I was saying that I don't think Alabama should have got it in.
That's the culprit.
Alabama
is the culprit.
That's what I was saying.
But they have the best win in the country. That's why they got in.
Why Alabama?
Their last 6 weeks of football have been dog shit.
I agree.
No,
I'm not denying
hear me on this. They've played terrible, and they showed what it is. If they do get to play Georgia again, they're gonna get stomped. And they had -3 rushing yards. So yeah, I wish it would have went like that because I also think the conference championships are now obsolete. Because why did Ohio State and Indiana play a football game if they were just gonna swap being 1 and 2? They were playing for what? There's not even a home field advantage if when they would play again since they are 1 and 2. So there's literally no point whatsoever.
You know when conferences were irrelevant before this year even started. Conferences were irrelevant when Ohio State sat out conference
and Ohio State losing.
Ohio State championship.
And a lot of people feel like Ohio State losing gave them the better first round. Well, technically second round, their first matchup. I'd rather play the winner of Miami and Texas A&M than the winner of Alabama and Oklahoma.
But you can't because they got to figure out what it is now, because in college football it's always been the matchups have mattered. So you cannot penalize Miami for having the same record as a team and beating them.
Absolutely.
They would own that
Absolutely.
tiebreaker. And regardless, so now it's been this tale as old as time. You lose the early games because you played Texas A&M early. They fell off a little bit late, but regardless, you lost those games. Then you go on this streak. They improved, but then their last ranked win was Pitt. I'm saying Alabama's last showing is terrible, but then you can't penalize JMU because you guys have this group of 5 mandatory. Well, they're the second team, but then you got to put Tulane in because you got this mandated.
It's also politics.
And here's the result of that, though, is the fans get screwed over because like the product. I've got the bracket
I can't
pulled
get
up.
mad at JMU and Tulane.
Right,
they won
I'm
their
not mad
games.
at JMU or Tulane, but here's the thing: and
then how is Duke in the
I'm
ACC
technically an Ohio State fan, right? But I'm gonna watch all of these first round games. Tulane and Ole Miss will be an adequate game.
They already played. It was 45-10. Don't need to do it again.
And then whoever goes on to play Georgia, like that's right there. That's 2 unwatchable games because they already played once. It was 45-10. And then the next
Notre Dame would bring in more than every Group of 5 program combined to a playoff format.
So then, like
Oregon
whoever
JMU
plays Georgia, then that's another bad product there. So you've got on that side of the bracket, you've got 2 back-to-back, call it unwatchable games. I think Oregon is going to just absolutely decimate JMU. So on the other side of the bracket, that's another unwatchable game. We've now got 3 unwatchable college football playoff games that are just completely pointless. So like the average fan gets screwed out of all of these politics.
Now we do say that,
these
but
games
then
are nonsensical.
But the whole point of this 12-team thing was for people to say what if. I've been saying they needed to stop trying to be like March Madness because they want to say what if. They want to, and there's a chance for an upset. We know it's not going to happen.
Here's the thing. I understand, like, and this coming from a guy as a Bearcat fan, but my team made it when it was 4 teams. We expanded it to 12 teams, and that should have been enough of a cause for, like, hey, these group of 5 teams, yeah, you're probably never going to get into the 14 playoff, of course, but here's your opportunity. We'll expand it to 12 teams. If you're that good, we'll put you in. Tulane, James Madison obviously have no business being there. It should be Notre Dame in there, and then probably Texas. That would solve everything.
And the crazy,
that
like,
would.
The
Like, just by
part of
expanding it
too,
to 12 teams
if
is enough.
Virginia doesn't shit down their leg, right? If Virginia doesn't shit down their leg and there's an ACC team in,
it's really the
Notre
ACCs.
Dame's getting in.
It's the
they would have done Notre Dame, Miami.
oxymoron.
They're like Notre Dame would have gotten in if Virginia won that game.
It's the oxymoron of Miami being in, and they couldn't even make the ACC championship in a 7-5.
Because by the way, the ACC has the dumbest tiebreaker system of all time set up.
So that's a whole other separate conversation that Duke.
I'm happy for them. Their conference is dead. Their conference is literally going to be obsolete in 5 years. I'm so glad.
It's pretty much obsolete now.
Dude, I mean, well, yeah, but they're literally not even going to exist in 5 years. I mean, I'm so fucking glad you get to watch Miami's defense give up 85 points to Texas A&M.
Yeah,
I hope it was worth your
not to mention, I mean, it's bad because the group of 5 thing, it's just so Mickey Mouse. They were trying to do the like every conference should have a shot.
Like,
but
that was my whole point.
Seriously, is anybody happy about this?
No. The remedy to that, Rob, was by making it 12 teams. They say, okay, now there's 12 teams that get into the playoffs.
No, but then we would have got to see Texas or Vanderbilt or any other deserving team that might have been like an actual competitive football team.
Even if I'm an Indiana
we're lying
fan, I'm
to
the number one
ourselves
team
saying
in the
Tulane.
nation. I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, like we're lying to ourselves talking about like, okay, everyone will come up here and we'll say, oh, well, we were wrong if JMU goes out there and somehow beats the Oregon Ducks. And then you will have credence to this, and I'll be like, wow, this is why you play the games.
But
I've been saying football is not basketball. That's just not going to happen.
When JMU walks into Eugene and loses by 70.
It's not even a neutral site game. That's the other thing that would give these underdogs a chance. It's an away football game.
Like, there's no point of watching
James Madison,
3 games on this.
Say you're like an Oregon frat kid, right? You're like planning out the games you're going to go to this season. Like, what's the 1 week I can go home?
Yeah, they give you the
James
draw.
Madison was on the regular season schedule, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm going home this week.
Yeah.
Like,
it's supposed to be about, I want these games to be entertaining. If you're college football, you want these games to be entertaining.
You would have wanted to see a Vanderbilt Oregon instead of a JMU Oregon.
My point being is,
clown doing a 6-7 on national TV.
When it was 4 teams, it's like, okay, I understand you're not going to get everybody these stars in. It's only 4 teams. The margin for error is so thin. But when you expand it to 12 teams, here's the problem. Like, yeah, you have Julian Saint and Fernando Mendoza in the playoff. You have the 2 other guys who are going to be in New York for the finalists not in. Diego Pavia is not going to be in. But the more egregious one is Jeremiah Love. I'm assuming those will be the 4 finalists. Neither of them are going to be in the college football playoff. Like, those are the 2 most. Say what you will about Diego Pavia being good in the NFL or whatnot. Jeremiah Smith and Diego Pavia, 2 of the most entertaining players in the sport right now.
Well, and now
I think the 14
and more insulting.
That was the closest they were going to get to
insulting is the invert. More insulting is what we've got. Like, Tulane and Ole Miss, there's no reason to tune into that. Oregon and JMU, there's
Ole
no
Miss
reason
without
to
a head coach,
tune
by
into
the
that.
way. We sleep.
Whoever wins Ole Miss and Tulane against Georgia, there's no reason to tune into that. Like, there's no reason to tune into a fraction of these games.
Here's what fucking upsets me a lot.
They should have stayed at the 4 team. This is the 2-team format was better. The national championship game, because the regular season still mattered. All those the Big Ten championship would have been a massive game. It would have, because that could have knocked Ohio State out all the way. But in the 4-team format, I think that was it. If it was just we sat down and it was going to be Indiana versus Texas Tech, and then it was going to be Ohio State versus Georgia, nobody would have had any complaints. Some teams could have said whatever, but oh well, Oregon, you took the L. That would have been the only other discussion, is Oregon and Ohio State. Oh well, who should be in between those teams? But I think everyone would have agreed that top 4 should have been it. This 12 team is too much, and like you said, it's leading to a lot of unwatchable and unnecessary football, because we're going to get a lot of fodder to probably just get back to those 4 teams anyway. And I would have.
They're going to go up. They're not going down. They're going to 16.
I think.
I will bet you every dollar in my bank account they're going to 16.
The 4 was as perfect as it was going to get.
It's going up, though.
And I would much rather see them go back to just having games like the Rose Bowl matter, the Orange Bowl matter, to see like the 4 versus 7s and the 5 versus 6s, and then just having the top 2 teams. And, maybe the best 2 aren't always there, but it would be a lot closer than what I'm seeing with these 12, because we're probably going to see about 5 teams that actually have a chance to win.
Ryan, we talked about this before the show, too, because Nick jogged my memory on this when he made a great point about like watching some of these games this weekend. Like, the whole Hunter Yurichek, the playoff committee chair, for telling everyone they have to go rewatch Notre Dame Miami from week 1 before they do the rankings this week. Like,
but that was 3 months ago.
Why the hell not go rewatch? What are we talking? Alabama, Florida State, right? Yeah. Week 1. Why not rewatch Tulane, Ole Miss to see if that's worth doing?
Miami, Louisville. Go watch that one.
Miami, Louisville. Miami, SMU.
They're doing everything.
Fucking Alabama, Auburn. They almost lost to Auburn 2 weeks ago.
Because I keep telling you, they're trying to be basketball, but that committee takes all that into the hand. They take the in those conference tournaments. Everyone makes it.
Do a fucking TV show every week and say, here, if it ended this week, here's who'd be the first 4 teams out. Here's who's going to Dayton for the first 4 games.
A team that's 17-14 and has a massive run in their ACC championship in basketball, they look at that and say, oh, well, you got hot and you've played quality opponents, versus a team that played awful last month of the season in February and then maybe goes out in the first round that was on the bubble. They're gonna usher you out. all that context that they use in basketball, they haven't been using in football, because it's obvious it's not the same football team you're watching in week 14 versus a major game they played in week 1. It's obviously
There's
not
going
the
to be
same.
better football games played this weekend. Like Army Navy is a 6.5 point spread. like no joke. Like
I think it's 20.5 on James Madison, Oregon.
Troy
right now.
and Jacksonville State is a
It's
3.5 point game.
I actually think it's 20.5.
More exciting, more equal balance.
Oregon's minus
meaningless
20 and a
bowl
half. Mississippi's minus 16 and a half, and Mississippi would be minus like 24 and a half.
Can
if Lane
someone
Kiffin
just
hadn't
please
left.
explain to me why they didn't rank Miami ahead of Notre Dame from the start? Like, I'm like asking you guys as my friends, like just like for my mental health.
No,
This is
because-
not like
Jack-
not trying to start a narrative on the show.
No,
Like, why do you not
they
rank them
back
ahead?
themselves into a corner, and it's gonna cause more questions, because I truthfully don't think
Would Notre Dame be playing in a bowl game right now if 10 weeks
no.
ago they ranked behind Miami?
No, but it only
Yes,
worked
they would
out
be.
this way because of specific things that happened. If Duke and Virginia and all that didn't work out how it did, I think Notre Dame would have got in. I don't think they planned on putting Miami in, but they got the perfect scenario, and they ended up having to do it because it ended up being the last two on the bubble, like the first 4 out. It was Notre Dame and Miami. And
Did you see the one lady on the committee like fucking cheering after?
We would have got
What
a
are you
Notre
cheering
Dame.
about? You're on the fucking committee. You're unbiased.
We would have got a Notre Dame and Texas A&M rematch. But here's another problem, and nothing in life is fair. Sports certainly isn't an exception. But when you're talking about ranking teams in that 5, 6, 7 range, like Ole Miss number 6, Texas A&M 7, and especially given that Ole Miss is without their head coach now, like. That's like, how is there like a definitive answer why Ole Miss should be 6 and Texas A&M 7? Probably not. So it's like
Why-
a
and also,
but
why was,
listen. It's like a culmination of perspectives, and obviously there's some inherent bias. But the result of that is number 6 Ole Miss gets a cakewalk, should be at least, in Tulane. Meanwhile, Texas 7, who you could have made the argument for number 6, they got to go play Miami.
Can someone explain what Oklahoma did this year to be absolved from this like last 5 teams in conversation?
They're just
Because I could fucking argue they're the worst of all of them.
they're
I mean, here's the thing, because
glazing them.
Oklahoma,
Yeah, 'cause
what was the
Alabama-
reason?
to get
What's
John
the
Mateer to
and
be
Jack?
Baker Mayfield.
But
Jack-
Bama's probably going to win that game because Oklahoma, quite frankly,
Bama's
hasn't
gonna
been
be-
good.
But here's the thing,
Oklahoma's not that
Oklahoma,
good.
and that's the thing, Oklahoma, the reason that they're in the playoff is because they got that big win in Tuscaloosa. Well, Alabama might not be good.
Yeah, I fucking
Yeah.
said it. Burke down, yay down there 2 nights ago and watched them get their shit
and
kicked
they're
by
and
Georgia.
they're glazing because
It's
they
not an
they
impressive
kept the
win.
flow while Mateer was hurt. I think it was John Gruden or something over there that I had saw. They need to that last like 4 teams, they need to just take the 8 and they need to play playing games for those last 4 spots. I would rather see that. That way you could get a Mickey Mouse like James Madison in. They could have a playing game
Yeah,
against
they
Texas
can host it too.
and get rolled. And then we'll actually get to the playoff. And that's when you finally abolish the conference championship weekend.
And
it's dead.
we haven't
and then
even-
you move on.
And we haven't
They
even
can
talked.
do it, Rob. They could do it where the group of 5
Regular
get
season
the home
champs
games to
only.
the play-in games too.
Yep.
So they can have these huge
Yeah.
schools
Yep.
come in and make a bunch of money for the group of 5 schools on a given
Take
weekend.
that last 8 in, so then they would have played for those spots. So it would have been JMU.
Notre Dame goes down to Tulane.
Yeah, it would have been like JMU going to Texas, Texas going to JMU
Yeah.
to play for the right to play
When
in the
will
college
James
football
Madison
playoff
ever make
against
more
Oregon.
money as a school in their lives than when Arch Manning comes to play football for a weekend?
That's the only way I could see more teams and expanding this longer is putting in the play-in games. But this is genuinely awful.
Or just, just
Genuinely
go back to
awful.
the fucking decibels and the times this and the divide by 2. Just BCS the top 16 teams.
We haven't even talked about BYU either, who certainly has a right to have a gripe with the committee.
They should be in over
But-
Notre Dame. I mean, I'll come on here and fight for them. I'll
Right.
take this hat off. I mean, like, you cannot.
It's outright
Alabama gets their shit run off the fucking tracks in downtown Atlanta on Saturday night, right? And they find a way to stay in the playoffs. They're the first team to ever, in the 10-year history of the playoff format, not drop not even 1 spot, 2 spots after losing the conference championship game.
It makes
they
no
don't move
sense
at
that they
all.
didn't move,
BYU has lost to 1 team all year. They won their other ranked game. Yeah, they got their shit kicked twice, but so did Alabama. BYU gets knocked down spots. Like, well, there has to be some consistency.
I'm telling you, there hasn't been this much controversy since it was the BCS for the top 2, but I'd argue that was at least consistent. They're
least that's
picking
math.
they're
You can be
picking
like, okay,
and
that's why they
choosing
do it.
every week, and that's why I think people have such a big gripe with it. But
But we need the eye test of some fool who slobbers all over himself who can't even pick a fucking head coach for his own school. Hunter Yurachek.
This all-
but he
that's
said-
better than a
but he
this
computer.
said
all
6'7".
started with that Florida State Jordan Travis injury. We would have got to stay with the 4 team if it wasn't for that and it wasn't for UCF. We would have got to see it. Man.
All right, Jack, last thing. We're running out of time here. Last thing before we get to our FanDuel parlay of the day. Notre Dame, in the wake of all of this, of getting left out of the college football playoff, they announced on social media X, the Notre Dame football team, that they have not they've decided they will not participate in a bowl game. Quote, as a team, we've decided to withdraw our name from consideration for a bowl game following the 2025 season. Go on to thank the fans and families for all their supports. Jack and Rob, I know you guys have two different viewpoints on this. Jack, I'll let you go on the floor. My question is this a soft move by the Fighting Irish electing not to play in a bowl game after being left out of the college football playoff?
I mean, it's funny because like you'll go on Twitter and there's like every single quote tweet of this is like, imagine being the seniors who don't get to play in this game. Like no one read the article. No one knows that the whole entire team voted.
Yeah, they voted.
The team voted and decided that this was what they wanted to do. If it makes you so not like feel good about yourself as a man that Notre Dame's not going to go and play their third stringers in the Pop-Tart Bowl against BYU, like if that really gets your blood going, oh, Notre Dame's not going to play the bowl game, like oh, they're a bunch of soft sons of bitches because they're not going to go have Marcus Freeman bite off a fucking live Pop-Tart on a random Wednesday in December. If that's your MO, good for you. Have something to be mad about.
What is the Pop-Tart? But did they name this yet?
No, it was going to be Notre Dame BYU, but we're not going.
If I
We've been robbed.
I have a problem with this, and it becomes soft if I see a single Notre Dame fan, player, coach, executive, anyone affiliated with the school try to claim a national championship year. That's it. That's the only reason. That's the only reason is if they backed out and they don't play the extra game where they, quite frankly, may or may not win or may lose, win, draw, whatever. If I see anyone say, "Oh, we got left out, we're the national champs," this is beyond the softest thing I've ever seen in my life, because it's truthfully just a temper tantrum they're throwing right now, not going to go play the game against BYU.
In the asterisks on my Pop-Tart Bowl this year.
Yeah.
As
honestly.
Georgia Tech and BYU now.
Haynes King versus Bear Bachmeier in the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's actually a tough game.
Classic. That's going to be a hood classic. That's going to be a hood classic. I'm not going to lie. That's going to be cinema. You will like that game. It will be 45-38.
Oh, you guys got to hold me to this. I need some Pop-Tart Bowl merch.
All right. Well, maybe if we win a lot of money on FanDuel, we can buy some Pop-Tart
all the
Bowl
time.
merch. Nick, we got to head out here. Why don't you tell everybody?
Top three Pop-Tart flavors?
I got brown sugar.
Strawberries #1. Everything
brown
else is new.
sugar, cinnamon.
Nick, we got to tell everybody about FanDuel and get the hell out of here.
My go.
Alrighty, guys.
Let's be better, college football committee. Be better.
You know how fast NFL game days move. One big play, everything changes. That's why betting on FanDuel is a game changer, because with FanDuel, you can bet in real time while the game unfolds. If the score just flipped, jump on a new spread or live money line. Wide receivers hitting up, bet the next touchdown score or total yards. Think that drive stalls in the red zone, take a live field goal prop or fade the total. Live player props, team totals, drive results, updated spreads, next play markets. It's all there. It's fast. It's fun. With FanDuel, your bets move as quickly as the game does. So whether you're riding momentum or fading the hype, FanDuel puts you in the middle of every single moment. Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay, download the app, and bet the NFL live all season long. Must be 21 plus, present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
All right, we're honoring Kevin Stefanski in our FanDuel parlay today. Jack, I'll let you explain. Take it away, my friend.
You know, on nights where I don't like to sabotage quarterbacks' careers, I like to take Quakers money line. Let's start this puppy off. We're going Penn money line -245. They got Lafayette walking on into the building, and they're not walking out, folks. Then we're going Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown. AJ Brown 60 yards. Ladd McConkey to pick up 50. A couple of all receiving totals in there with a bunch of hashtag sharps. Lock this one in, folks. Once again, Saquon anytime touchdown. AJ Brown 60 yards. Ladd McConkey 50 yards.
Basketball?
Penn basketball money line.
All right, you heard it here first. Jack, before we exit out of here on this wonderful Monday morning, Jim Brown's 32 on YouTube says, soft as fuck, going to a New Year's Six Bowl is a season failure, question mark?
Yeah, so last time I checked, the Pop-Tart Bowl is not a New Year's
Is that our
Six
only
Bowl,
comment of
Jim
the day?
Brown.
Could I hear some comments? We
27.
don't gotta go nowhere. Let me.
Yeah, can we drill us for a second?
All right, I mean, all the way. Kevin Stefanski's got to go. That's from Chester Rankins.
Agree.
Wolverine is glazing Shedeur Sanders, rightfully so. Had a great game.
Why not?
Given to some of the stats, base player, bye-bye coach. Jim Brown, having Tulane and JMU over Notre Dame is fried. Completely agree. And
It is.
just playing is better than BCS.
Great comment section tonight from the boys. Hey, everyone, tune in. If you like NBA basketball, we're having an interview go live with Scoop B. Robinson tonight. So we're going to have a separate live episode of The Big Factor tonight. Be on the lookout for that. Don't know what time specifically yet, but it will be airing tonight.
All right, appreciate everybody tuning in to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. We're out of time. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Same people, same time. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out, and we'll talk later.